Hi guys, welcome back to the third edition of the Movication podcast, where we hope to give you a movie education. Today, me and Esteban, we're comparing two very good series of Friends and How I Met Your Mother. Esteban, I want to hear your initial opinions. Which one's your favourite and why? I guess.
Okay. I mean, I've always said that this is a very difficult debate. I love both shows equally, but I feel like How I Met Your Mother just pushes it a little bit more. I feel like it's quite different to Friends in like a lot of different ways. So first of all, it's quite more modern. Friends was from 94 to 2004, and How I Met Your Mother was from 2005 to 2013, I believe. Um, it was, I think, almost the same length. So I think they were both either 10 seasons or 9 seasons. And, with sitcoms, they normally go through the same trope. So you've got the hopeless romantic, which in How I Met Your Mother will be Ted. You have the new romance, the new female character is the female that's the hopeless romantic they're attracted to. In this case, it'd be Robin. You've got a lovable guy. I'd say Marshall. He doesn't. He's always
Yeah.
the kind one around, very funny, really chill. Then there's always the dumb one that makes lots of silly things happen. The one that's very chaotic. In this case, it'll be Barney. And then the thing is with the similarities with Friends, it'd be like the whole same trope. It'd be Ross as the hopeless romantic, Rachel as the romance, uh, Chandler as the lovable person, and then Joey as the buffoon, basically. And then you could say that Phoebe, Monica, and Lily are the basically just not side characters, but they're there also for comedic effect. They're also either very lovable, very chaotic. They're like in between. But I'd say that How I Met Your Mother is much better because it's much more. It's not just comedy. There's lots of like different parts
Yeah.
of the show that like will make you feel sad, will make you feel happy. Say, and there's a lot of different character arcs. So one of my favorite characters, and I think one of the best characters in the show, Barney. When the show starts, everyone knows him as the playboy. He gets all the ladies and stuff, and he goes through like several arcs. So he falls in love with Robin, and through numerous seasons he can't get her, and he starts to like get a little bit better. Get rid of that whole playboy stage of him. Eventually, he does marry her, but unfortunately, they divorce, and he reverts back to the playboy man that he is, which kind of shows that like he's always meant to be that type of person, and I kind of like that whole character arc. And with the whole like distance from comedy, I quite like that. Not like, but the scene where Marshall loses his father. It's quite like a sad scene as well, and how Lily's father's never been in her life as well. I mean, I feel like in Friends you don't really see that. You could say that Monica's family weren't the same with her the way that they are with Ross, but it's in a different way. Like in that time, I think you can really have a comedic show that was quite sad. Really, you always had to be like a comedy with a laughing track, stuff like that. And I also like how unique How I Met Your Mother is. See, like it's isn't the normal thing where it's like it's both shows are quite unique, but I'd say How I Met Your Mother just makes it much more unique. There's so many scenes. Like one scene in particular, I like they're talking about which one is better just in general, ducks or rabbit, and they both talk about well, ducks more delicious, some could say, but if you're wearing a blanket or a comforter full of duck feathers or rabbit like feathers, it's not going to be the same. And you don't really see that in Friends. It's just a weird thing to like just imagine. Another thing is like I think it's 50 reasons to have sex. That's
yeah,
a great scene, and they actually go through the whole 50 reasons why you do that. And I quite like the side characters as well. You've got Ranji, who's the cab driver who drives them all around New York. He comes and goes through numerous seasons. You got numerous like love stories as well through Ted, Robin, and Barney. Marshall and Lily are basically like the like parents of the group. They've always been together, so they never have any like side characters really. But that's kind of what makes it like better as well, because like in Friends you don't really have that. You have to wait until the end, until like Monica and Chandler are finally together. But then again, you never see that at the start. So like it like takes a long while. And like say if you started watching 94 and you're not that much of a watcher, you're gonna spend 8 years watching and just be tired by the end of it. And see, with my family, we've watched Friends, I don't know, about 20 times. And, it's probably my parents' favorite show, one of my sister's favorite comedy shows. I feel like with Friends, after like a while, I couldn't watch it anymore. But with How I Met Your Mother, for some reason, I could. I could like always be rewatching it and just feel happy, laugh at it. I'd always laugh the same jokes in like a different way to Friends. And
yeah,
also, I think the characters of How I Met Your Mother as well are like amazing. You could say that Ted in a little bit was a little bit like snobbish, not that nice of a guy. But you could say the same thing to Ross. That's the whole thing with the hopeless romantic. They're
yeah,
both hopeless romantics, but they're too obsessed with that whole fact that they want to settle down so early. But I always like felt a little bit annoyed by Ross, sometimes Phoebe, maybe Monica, but never with How I Met Your Mother characters. So I don't know. I just like that a lot. They've always like had like a part, not part of my life, but like I've just like always loved watching How I Met Your Mother,
yeah,
and I think I always will.
yeah. I mean, I do prefer Friends out of the two. Only you mentioned about character arcs for like Barney. I think you said. I think
Yeah,
I think there's more of that in Friends. I feel like whereas Chandler at the start is someone who can't deal with relationships and is someone who gets with a woman and after like 3 dates he can't commit, right?
hmm
And I think over time, once he meets Monica, he changes and becomes this committed person. And
yeah,
I love that change, but he becomes more, I think, less selfish and he becomes more aware of other people. He's kinder,
yeah,
I think, in a later series. And I like that change because yes, he's still sarcastic throughout the 10 series, which I makes him my favorite character. It's the sarcastic comments. It makes me his favorite character. But I love the way that he changes because he met Monica. That without
hmm
Monica, would he have ever become kinder and more observant of others and sort of change? I don't think so. So I like that part about it. And also, I think there's
yeah,
another character arc with Rachel because at the start when she would just, I think in the first episode she said she'd run away from her fiance Barry, I believe, and she instead of finding a job and like doing sensible adult things that people should do, she goes out shopping and buys a bunch of stuff using her father's money. And I
yeah,
love by the end of it that she's standing up on her own 2 feet. Even by like series 5 or 6, she's standing up on her own 2 feet. Because like I remember one episode where I think one of her sisters comes to visit or something. I think the character played by Reese Witherspoon, I believe, and like
yeah,
the Reese Witherspoon says I think it's like Daddy wants me to learn from the one daughter she's actually proud of. And I think that one line shows how much she changed from being sort of like a selfish, snobbish type, like a
yeah,
daddy's girl type of person, to someone who's independent, proud, and someone who stands on her own 2 feet. I think they're those character arcs. I think they're better than just. I think the one you mentioned in Barney who changes, but then
hmm
he reverts back. That they all sort of
yeah,
stay the same as they were at the start. So it's sort of like haven't really changed. I also think Friends has more iconic lines. Like I know How I Met Your Mother has the legendary thing that Barney says throughout the whole thing. But I think you've got the Joey saying, "How you doing?" and could I be wearing any more clothes and all of that sort of stuff. Like I feel like there's so many more iconic lines in Friends that
Hmm.
it makes it sets it above the rest from other sitcoms. It just makes it stand
Yeah.
out. The lines running through it. I don't know what I couldn't think of. I don't know if there's any more that you could think of from How I Met Your Mother, but I feel like there's more in Friends.
It pains me to say it, but you may be right. Apart from I think in How I Met Your Mother, Barney is the one who comes up with most of the like quotable lines.
Yeah,
You could say that the lines that Robin and Ted always say, stuff like general knowledge, and
yeah,
like when they say major or corporal, stuff like that, and then they do the whole inside joke. You could include that, but I do agree that Friends does have quite more quotable lines.
yeah. Um, what out of all the episodes of How I Met Your Mother, which one's your favourite? I'd love to hear which one's your favourite.
My favorite character.
The favourite episode. Which episode like is your favourite?
Oh, oh, there's too many. The thing is, like, they're always each one always like it's never one episode about one character, and I feel like that's kind of why I prefer it to Friends, because like sometimes with Friends they'd always have like one episode just centrified towards Ross or Rachel, sometimes Monica, never really Phoebe, which I never liked because Phoebe was a great character. But say
Yeah,
some episodes like when Robin and Barney get married, it's like almost a full season worth leading up to that point, and it's the whole like timeline, like all the branches leading up towards the hotel. So you've got Lily meeting Tracy, which is Ted's future wife, the mother. You've got Barney meeting her. You've got Marshall meeting her. I think Robin meets her as well. They all meet her before Ted does. And there's so many like separate things that happen during the show. For example, Barney gets hammered and they can't wake him up, and they're all saying that they should do the weekend in Barney's in at Bernie's thing. I don't know whether you watched that movie. It's basically where they get a dead guy. The two characters'
yeah,
uncle dies at like a seaside villa, and they basically have to pretend that he's alive. And
yeah,
I just love that. There's you see the scenes where like they take the photo, and Barney has this whole thing where he can never take a bad photo, where he's always like
yeah,
looking all dapper in a suit, and they actually
yeah,
finally do get a photo of Barney, like just unconscious. And there's also a scene where they're at the bar, and he is out of it, and they basically get him to reveal just random secret things about him. For example, what he does to work, how much his suit costs, and I just love the whole scene. That whole like arc, like the whole season. I think it's the last season where it's
yeah,
leading up towards that point. Apart from that, there isn't really like you could say any any of the episodes that deal with Ted's major other girlfriends, for example, Victoria, the Slight Pumpkin. You could say Zoe. Not Stella.
yeah,
Stella's the one like girlfriend that I don't like. But apart from that, yeah, I'd say a majority of the episodes from season 9 were great. Apart from that, I can't really think of any others. There's just too many. There's episodes where Marshall and Lily are in Minnesota, and you got
yeah,
Marshall's mom like still not liking Lily because she's so small. She isn't like tall as they are. You've got some episodes with Robin's dad, and when I think another inside joke that I quite like is the fact that they all make jokes about Canada. And
yeah,
I've always loved that because, well,
yeah,
as a person who lives in England, I never really understood why Americans hate Canadians. and then the show just like
yeah,
made me understood like Canadians are always too nice. Uh, they put maple syrup on everything. The like national anthem is weird. They speak French, stuff like that. And like there's a scene where like they say like 50 things that are wrong about Canada, and I just love that. I think with with Friends and How I Met Your Mother, they always have like a central place where they heart, and most of the time it's in a bar, and in Friends it's the coffee house. And I feel like
yeah,
with How I Met Your Mother, a lot more things happen in the bar than it does in the coffee house and Friends. Like you could say there are a lot of like major things that happened in Friends. For example, Rachel appears. Um, you know, um, Phoebe discovers that no, well, Phoebe's brother and his wife discovered that Phoebe's gonna have their child. Stuff like that. But I feel like more things happen in the bar, and I also quite like how it's like quite different. In Friends they're drinking coffee, and in How I Met Mother they're drinking alcohol, and you never really experience them like actually getting really drunk, like apart from when they're at a party or a wedding. So it's quite funny to think like when you get at a bar, you're like if you're drinking socially, you don't really get that drunk, but then again, in the show they're always there for a long time, and you see them bringing a lot of drinks. So it's quite funny to think about that. But
yeah.
yeah, apart from that, there's too many side plots to think about. Really, I would just
Um,
finally just say the season 9, the episode of the wedding.
yeah. Okay. I think my favorite Friends episode is definitely a one where Joey says, "Could I be wearing any more clothes?" When they're all getting
Hmm.
ready for Ross's thing, because I feel
Yeah.
like there's so much going on. Like first of all, the absolute mess that the evening is essentially makes it funny, and also I like a little the spat or the argument that Joey and Chana have throughout the whole episode about whose seat it was. I think it's
Hmm.
such a petty argument. It just makes it so funny. But that the
Yeah.
arguing over nothing essentially. I like, but the way they go about it is like it's so like sort of slapstick comedy. It's so over the
Yeah.
top and exaggerated. Like obviously Joey putting on all of China's clothes, but then Joey taking the cushions beforehand and like him, they're both running towards the seat and all of the stuff like that. It's so slapstick and over the top comedy. It highlight.
Yeah.
I think that's really good. Also, I like how obviously I think Ross and Rachel were together at this point and at the episode, but
Yeah.
they're still going out with each other. And I like how um, Ross is sort of he wants Rachel to go, but she's not like getting ready and all of that stuff. I like how he's trying to like sort of go, come on, let's go, be friendly, right? But
Yeah.
really, like we need to go. About just time. I like how that it's also that subtle comedy. I like how
Hmm.
that's brought into the episode. I mean Phoebe's just Phoebe during the episode. She's all ready and everything, but she gets some like stuff on her dress and stuff. She wears this
Almost. Yeah.
Christmas ribbon. Yeah, it's really good. And I think Monica, she's in the episode a little bit, isn't she? I think, but
Yeah, I
uh,
think she's just broken up with Richard, and like she's waiting for a voicemail. So like she's like
yeah,
fixated on like getting that
oh
voicemail,
yeah,
and I think oh no, they she wants to call him back, but Chandler and Phoebe won't allow her. So like they like cut the
yeah,
cord and like of her phone in her room, and then like she goes to the one in the living room, and like she calls him, and I feel like he hears a woman's voice, but that turns out to be his daughter. So like there's a whole big
yeah,
mess around that because then she calls back, and it's just a whole big chaotic thing with him and his daughter, or with her
yeah,
Monica.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's I guess what she does. But I love that episode for the whole like um mess it is of that the evening.
Yeah.
How it's meant to be. Well, essentially, it's just people getting ready, essentially. But it just does.
Hmm.
It doesn't happen that way. It's also something so
Yeah.
simple, and they've made it so comedic. I love that, and also,
Hmm.
of course, it has one of the most famous lines in the whole all the series. And could I be wearing any more
Yeah.
clothes? It's just, I love that episode so much. My favorite episode. But
Yeah.
when you're talking about like the side characters, I feel like well, I think Friends has. I'm not saying more. It might have more. I don't actually know, but like the characters it has are. I'm gonna say better. 'Cause it has a lot of famous actors appearing in it. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure Brad Pitt's in it at one point. I think George Clooney's in one of the earlier series. Just it has a lot of famous
yeah,
actors guest
yeah,
starring on the show, and I love that. Like even though it's a sitcom, right, and only in it for like a one episode, maybe two if they're lucky, it's just they still manage to attract massive, massive A-list actors, and I think that
yeah.
just showed how big Friends was. Like you got
Hmm.
Brad Pitt in it for an episode in a sitcom that's on national television. Like I think that shows the enormity of Friends, and it's just like
Yeah,
I think that just shows how good it was, how funny it was, how much people loved it. Like people, it came out what the first episode was like almost 20 years ago, right? Because it's 1994,
hmm,
right? Almost
yeah,
20 years ago. Yeah, 20 years ago. Almost 30 years ago, actually. Yeah, 30 years, sorry. Yeah, it was almost 30
yeah.
years
30
ago,
years,
and it
30
shows
years,
that
29.
we're still people are still watching it for the first time and talking about it today. And I think that's a highlight of how good something is. That if it's left a lasting legacy years and years after it's finished.
Yeah,
It's just I think that shows how good Friends was, in my opinion.
yeah. I get that. I mean, yeah, there isn't that many like A-list celebrities that appear. You could say Jennifer Lopez. She appears in some episode, in
Yeah.
like a couple episodes. Britney Spears appears in some as well. It's
Oh yeah.
quite funny to
Yeah, of
see
course.
her. And I feel like when you said Brad Pitt, I'm not saying that like he was forced into this, but you do have to remember that he was married to Jennifer Aniston at that time. So
Yeah.
maybe that could have been like a whole
That's true.
outlier, and like maybe there were different, like in that time Friends was the only like major show. You could say that Seinfeld competed against it, but apart from that there wasn't really anything competing against it, so they couldn't really have that many like A-list celebrities. Whereas with How It Met Your Mother, they had Big Bang Theory. Friends was almost finishing, so like everyone was like going off watching other shows like Sopranos. um, so maybe that's kind of why. So like in that time there were less shows, so that they were like had more opportunities to have A-list celebrities, whereas in How I Met Your Mother they couldn't. But yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. That there is a lot of A-list celebrities, and like you got Reese Witherspoon, Christina Applegate, Brad Pitt, George Clooney. Um, you could even say that Ross and Monica's dad. He's also a very famous actor.
He's very
Um,
famous.
I think a lot. I think some of the like partners of the character, say Monica's boyfriend, who was like the millionaire. He was the one that created Iron Man and Mandalorian, John
Yes.
John
Yeah.
Favreau.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like yeah, it's quite a good point.
Yeah. And I mean, I love to talk about like the opening sequence, like the little
Hmm.
music bit for both. I don't know
Yeah,
what your opinions are on How I Met Your Mother, but I mean, I want to see which one you think's better.
I'm gonna have to go with Friends for this one because How Many Miles is a short but sweet one. Really, it's
Yeah.
got a nice tune to it. It's not really like there's not really any lyrics. It's just like people saying "baba," and then you got like clips of them in the bar. I think this was probably when they were making the show, and they just took Polaroids of each other. But then again, Friends, I quite like how it's like every season they change it, so they put scenes from the season into the intro.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I feel like if for that point, Friends does win because How Many Mother's quite a shortened version. It's not just it is short but sweet. It just does the
Yeah.
whole point and intro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, another reason I like Friends' intro is I actually do like the song. It's quite a nice song
Mm.
that goes with it. Also, the fountain scene, like when they all splash
Yeah.
and the fountain. That even though you said they add like stuff in based on like previous episodes and all of that stuff, and this episodes in the series, right? But they still
Yeah.
have bits from the original fountain bit, which I like that continuity throughout the
Yeah.
10 series. It's just the same thing. It's a nice reminder of where it was to because it shows
Yeah.
them in series one before it was filmed, like where they were to where they are now. It just I
Mm.
like that little like it's also like you can see where they've come from. It's quite nice to see
Yeah.
that now. But yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
do agree with you. That I do agree
There's
with you.
also
That
some, yeah. There's also like some episodes where I think the ending, like it has the like the season one intro, so just the whole them dancing in the fountain, and like
yeah,
no music, just like the like background, not well, yeah, but just the background music, but no lyrics. And I've
yeah,
always quite liked that. And I think the ending of Friends, they do like like a whole montage of New York City, and they have the song "I'll Be There for You," but just like with no lyrics. And I've always liked that as well because it's a good tune.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it's probably they touch on the endings, like the final episodes in each one. Just
Hmm.
probably to compare them how the thing both series finish. I
Yeah.
think. Remind me what
Okay. Well, so
the
with the How Many Mother
episode at
one.
the end. Yeah, how many more?
So ending basically is Marshall and Lily are happy. They have I think two children, I believe. I think yeah, they do have two children. Marshall finally has his job as a judge. I quite like, Marshall and Lily have always had like a great relationship, but it also has lots of like different in and outs. So you had Lily moving to San Francisco. Lily wanted him to move to Italy. Marshall not telling her that he accepted a job as a judge. Um, but like in the end they stick together, like that kind of show like how true their love was. And they started
Yeah,
off in like in college or university like when they were 18, which is quite
yeah,
lovely as well. And so basically all like the last season leads up to towards Barney and Robin's wedding, so they show what happens afterwards. So once that happens, Ted finally sees Tracy, the woman of his dreams, the woman that
yeah,
listens to the music he likes, reads the book he likes, plays the bass. And like I quite like how like also before maybe halfway through the season they actually like slowly are introducing her more and more. So you get to see her old roommate, her umbrella, the yellow umbrella, um, and yeah, so after that, then they finally meet in a train station. They just show lots of clips about like how they were when they got together and stuff. And they also have the whole episode how my your mother met me, and I love
yeah,
that episode because it shows how she when she was in university, I think studying economics, and Ted walks into the wrong classroom, and he says some really corny joke about shellfish, like
yeah,
saying if anyone's like eaten lobster in the front row and doesn't share it, that's mighty shellfish of you. And she laughs, and I've always like loved that scene and like how it leads up to the whole point. And you've got Robin and Barney. They seem happy. They're in Argentina, I believe, but it gets revealed that they aren't happy. Robin still like is the I wouldn't say workaholic, but she's always been more of a work person than a lovey person, basically. And
yeah,
well, Barney's Barney. He's like this is a new thing to him. He's like fallen in love twice, maybe once with Robin, and then once with the woman that led him to be the man he is now. And
yeah,
they basically divorce each other, and uh, Barney has like illegitimate child with a woman, and in that scene, like he isn't like the old Barney. He, like realizes that he's finally a dad, and he gets the opportunity to do what his dad couldn't do to him. And
yeah,
I quite like that idea because like the fact that his father uh left his like mother and then had like became a whole suburban dad. I always felt that was quite sad, and then like Barney was left by himself. I wouldn't say by himself, but like without dad, and he had to be raised
yeah,
by his mother and by his brother, who's also technically like a stepbrother, but they've always had like a really good relationship. And you then get to see the whole relationship with Tracy and Ted, but then if you find out that she's, I think, got cancer, I think maybe a terminal disease, one of the two, and she dies, which shocked everyone. It shocked me. It shocked my sister. I think it shocked the whole world. I was watching it at that time,
Yeah.
and it goes way back, then going towards his children. Throughout the whole show, he's basically the whole show is Ted telling the story of how he met his wife, basically. So I quite like how it ended like that. It goes it pans to Ted, and they're all saying to themselves, "You idiot! All this time you've been telling us about how you met our mother, but there's always been one person that you've known that you've wanted to be with throughout 10, 30 years, I think it is, and that's Robin."
Yeah.
And he then grabs another season one joke, which is the blue, I think it's the blue French horn from the restaurant where
Yes.
Robin and Ted have their first date.
Yeah.
And he goes up to his house and just shows it to her. And you can just see, in her face that she's happy. A lot of people hate the ending. I'm I wouldn't say I hate it. I wouldn't say I like if Tracy was alive. But when you think
Yeah.
about it, the reason why Robin and Ted weren't together was because Ted wanted to have children and Robin wanted to have that whole basically be a great newscaster, great person
Yeah.
in news. And they both got that in the end. So there really wasn't any point for them not to be together. Ted finally had his kids, so he didn't have to be, oh, Robin, can we have more kids? He already had the ones, and they were in their teens as well. And Robin already was in a great place with a job. So had Tracy been alive, then of course they would have stuck together. But
Yeah.
because she died, that gave the whole opportunity for them to be together. And in the first episode, I as well thought that Robin would be the mother, and then
Yeah.
they found out that's gonna be Aunt Robin. So it's a whole it's basically like a cliffhanger. Like you're just thinking, are they gonna get together? Are they not? Bunny comes in, Bunny leaves. So it's just there.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how it ends basically.
Yeah. I mean, the Friends ending. I'm gonna explain just in case nobody somebody watching doesn't know it. I think the whole of the 10th series builds up to the final episode because you have the idea of Monica and Chandler, they were going to adopt a baby because they can't have kids of their own, and going to see the house they're going to move into, and Phoebe getting
Mhm.
engaged, and Ross and Rachel sort of it's also lingering with the idea of getting back together. The only one who doesn't really end up with anyone is Joey, which I mean,
Yeah,
it also sums up his whole character throughout all of the series of this it's also like Barney, this playboy who likes to
yeah, hmm,
sleep with a lot of women essentially. But I think I like how the whole of the 10th series also builds up to the last episode. There's lots of little things that hint towards this is how it's going to end. And then
yeah,
the final episode itself, I think it's when Rachel says she's going to move to Paris or something like that, and Ross
hmm,
sort of stops her, but
yeah,
that doesn't stop her run away because you think that Rachel's gone to Paris, and then Ross has come back all sad and sad by himself. He's gone to his apartment,
yeah,
played the voice message, and then he sort of when she appears in the doorway of Ross's apartment and goes, "I got off the plane." I think that would have shocked everyone watching. I think
yeah,
it's
yeah,
a great twist. Obviously, it's a happy ending, which for you was looking back on it, you could have sort of gone, "Oh yeah, that would have happened." It's a happy ending. It's just
mm,
yeah, but watching it, it's a big shock. Everyone the way it sort of built up. There was disappointment, but an elation. It
yeah,
played with your emotions a lot, and yeah, I love that about it, and how like the final shot of the series before the end credits with the panoramic view of New York City, like you said, is the little tray that's on the purple door
yeah,
that's
hmm,
there for every episode. I like how
yeah,
the last scene of this entire series is that, like the little thing that no one really paid attention to for the whole 10 series. But then that's something that's been ever present. Like unlike
Yeah.
I think that's one of the only things in the apartment that's probably been ever present. And I like how they finish on that. It's like, oh, it's this culturally significant moment that that's the last shot you're ever going to see. And I
Yeah.
quite like how they ended it like that. That shot is like it's I don't know how to describe it. It was just like it was lovely to see it. But I did like how they all ended happily, and also that yeah, they probably wasn't going to see each other as much anymore. So I think
Hmm.
I don't know what happened with Phoebe and Mike. I think their sister was going to have kids, but there wasn't like
Yeah.
this side series of them or anything like that. But yeah, but they left together. I think Ross and Rachel were going to go M up in the city. Like Chandler and Monica, they moved away into like the suburbs essentially. And there's this side series of called Joey from
Hmm.
Friends. We just see Joey doing his acting career because he was quite a successful actor by the end of the 10th
Yeah.
series. He's in the date. This is oh, what's the series he's in?
Days Are Alive.
Days of Our Lives. Yes, he's in that. He's one of the main characters, and he's been in quite a few like
Yeah.
big movies. I like how
Hmm.
it all ends happily, and I think
Yeah.
that's different to what you said about Tracy dying was quite
Yeah.
controversial at the end of How I Met Your Mother. Some people didn't like it. I think I like how it all just ends happily for everyone at the end of Friends. It's quite a nice
Yeah.
sort of
I
ending.
get that. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say, in my opinion, that Joey's ending was happy because I think when you think about it, like in terms of like what everyone, like all the characters and what they've lost through the end, Joey's always been that friend that like has done things for his friends. So let's say he broke up with Kathy for Chandler. He broke up with Janine for Monica. He broke up with Ursula for Phoebe. He broke up with Rachel for Ross. And then of course he like broke up with Rachel. So like throughout the whole 10 seasons, like it's kind of like with Barney, he's always been that tall playboy person, but in truth, he's always truthfully wanted to have that partner, that kid, and in the end, he doesn't really get that. And in Joey, like yeah, I can't remember, I've never seen it, but I feel like he as well, he doesn't have like a wife, a girlfriend, or kids, whereas Barney does. So like I feel like that's quite different. I know what you said with Tracy, I do understand that, but I feel like with Joey, I wouldn't call it a happy ending. I'd call it like a good ending, but I just wouldn't say that's as happy as everyone else. You know, they're all getting married, having kids, settling down, and then there's Joey, so it's quite different.
Yeah, I'd agree. I would agree with that. Um, is there anything else you want to talk about? I don't know if there's anything we've missed that you want to speak about.
I don't know. I think we have spoken about everything really. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think this is the something we come to overall conclusion of what we think which
Uh,
one's better. I guess. So
yeah.
uh, I think we're gonna go have to go 1-0 Friends with the theme tune intro thing.
Yeah.
I think we both agree that one's better.
Mm.
Characters overall, I think this could be a tough one.
I think it has to be a tie.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I think there's positives and negatives to all the characters.
Each one.
Just yeah.
Definitely.
What else? We got a favorite episode. Which one? You
Mm.
said the what was your favorite episode again?
We're basically almost all of season 9. So when they're like leading up towards
Yeah,
their wedding, can't really think of a specific episode, but I'd say that one really. Like
yeah.
there's a specific
Okay.
one where they yeah,
I said
where
could I be? Sorry, carry on. Carry on.
oh no, yeah. So it's basically just the one where Barney is all unconscious. I love that episode.
Yeah. Okay. I said the one where they're all getting ready and it's like Joey says,
Mm.
"Could I be wearing any more clothes?" Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know which one I would say is best. I think it's hard to compare the two because they're different episodes in that they're
Mm,
not extremely similar, I guess,
yeah,
but they're both very good. But
yeah.
I don't know how
Also,
you would.
yeah, I think another one is what Spencer would kill me if I didn't include this is International Businessman. That's a great
Oh yeah,
episode.
yeah,
It's I think episode 3 of season 1. I think that's also like quite an episode that kind of like centers more towards just Marshall, Ted, and Barney, which I quite like, and it's basically them acting as international businessmen trying to like get women in an airport. I love that episode. And you have Marshall then heading off to Philadelphia to like lick the Liberty Bell. You don't really see Robin nor Lily in that episode really, and I quite like that
yeah,
one. So I think okay, I think one of those two, the one where either Barney's drunk or the one where they're going to the international business. I love that, and I love the whole scene where they're getting interrogated by the police, and
yeah,
he says, "We are international businessmen." I just love
yeah.
that scene as well.
Yeah, that's actually I completely forgot about that episode. That is quite a good episode.
Yeah,
I don't really know. This might have to be a tie again. I guess.
tie again. Yeah,
I don't really know how we can sort of compare. It was like let's think. I'm trying to think of another Friends episode that I really like. Um, I mean, it's not a particular episode, but it's like the whole of like the first couple of episodes of season 5, where Monica and Chandler are sort of trying to keep it hidden that they're in a
yeah,
relationship, and I think
hmm,
like the things they do to keep it hidden is quite
yeah,
funny. I like how the little things like, but well, the way Joey finds out, I think is hilarious because like with
yeah,
the eyelash curler and them both seeing Donald Trump, like as he was sort of perceived as the stupid one out of all 6 of them. I
yeah,
like that he was the first one to figure it out. I think that's quite a nice
hmm,
touch. But
yeah. I get that.
yeah, the things they do, like I remember there's a scene where they're in the bathtub and like Monica and Chandler have like champagne and candles, everything like that. And
Hmm.
then Joey walks in and like just obviously to not get noticed, Monica ducks down underneath the water so Joey can't see her. And like it's just so it's to Joey it just looks like it's just Chandler sitting there with a glass of champagne and bubble bath and like candles there. And
Yeah.
I love the line that Chandler said it's been a very hard day. So he sarcastic.
I love
I
that. Yeah,
love that. It's so funny. And yeah, just that whole little bit where they're trying to hide
yeah,
and the stuff they say and do to get out of being caught is I think it's
hmm,
hilarious. It's my favourite period in Friends.
yeah. I
That
get that.
little bit, yeah, it's just yeah, I love that part.
I feel like with the whole what you're talking about, I think another one of which I'd say could make you like gain this point is the one where everyone finds out, where you've got Phoebe and Rachel in Ross's apartment, and you see Phoebe like seeing them actually like having sex. That whole
Yeah,
scene, I feel like, is the one scene where I could not stop laughing with my parents and my sister when I first watched it for the first time because
yeah,
Phoebe's screams were amazing. You got Rachel there because she knew as well from that call that she could overhear. No.
there we go.
Oh wait, so we all right now?
Yeah, we're good now. Good now. Good
Cool. So what I was saying is that then you had Ross coming in and he's like overhearing the screaming, and then Phoebe and Rachel just like scream. And absolutely love this like scream that Ross just makes and the jump he makes to like get into the hug with those two. And yeah, it's just hilarious. I love that scene.
Yeah, I think an episode I love from How Many Mother we haven't mentioned is the whole bro code episode of like all of
Oh
this stuff
yeah,
that Barney does to try and get women, and I just love how he does. Well, all of them. My favorite one is where he pretends to be that famous billionaire person or the doctor or whatever it was.
hmm.
I can't remember the exact name of
Is it Lorenzo Van Matterhorn?
Van Matterhorn. That is the
Yes, that's
best
the
thing
one.
I've ever seen. Like
Yeah,
all of the webs is so detailed. Like the whole
yeah,
websites and he like the first little bit where he goes up to girls and goes, HIMYM, Lorenzo Van Matterhorn, double T, no, that one R, whatever he says, right? And he says, and
Hmm.
it just, and then all of that and all the websites he makes up just to sleep with this
Yeah.
one girl, I think is incredible. And all the other stuff he does as well, like the scuba diver thing, which it looked like it
I
didn't
was
work, and
thinking of that one exactly.
it
Yeah.
it, it, it looked like it didn't work, and then it did work, and it's just
Yeah.
I love that is my favorite episode out of How I Met Your Mother. But yeah,
That's kind of thing that makes like How I Met Your Mother like or Barney so unique. Like the amount of different things in the playbook. Like I think one that I can think of is where um Lily gets him to like get a girl's number by just wearing a trash bag and not saying the letter E.
yeah,
I couldn't do that. Like I couldn't think like right now saying words without the letter E.
yeah,
And right now I just used the word the, which has an E in
yeah,
it, so I just could not do it. And he actually got her number. And I think another
yeah,
one is where he becomes an old person and he tells her that he has to that this woman in the bar has to sleep with the young him unless the world like just goes into flames, just like the world just breaks up. And then he leaves the bar, comes back, and then she says, "Oh, can I buy you a drink?" It's just something that you would never think in real life that it could happen, but in the show it does, and it's just really unique. And
yeah,
there's so many that happens. Like, I think this isn't actually Barney, but you could also say that when Ted finally has that threesome and he wins the belt, before
yeah,
Barney as well. That's a great scene. And you actually I think in that episode Barney also lies about having a threesome, but in truth, um, I think some wine gets spilled into these two girls' carpet, and then they just get like really mad and they ask him to leave. And like Barney isn't that type of person to get rejected or to have like a whole plan fail. So, like to see that is like really funny. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. So there's probably hundreds of more episodes we could talk about.
yeah,
I do think they're both have very, very good episodes, but are very funny. So I
yeah.
think we're gonna have to say it's a tie. I can't
As
think
a
of
tie, yeah.
any. What else? What could we talk about? Don't know what else we talked about. I don't really know.
Have we included characters yet?
I
We
think
have,
yeah,
yeah.
we did characters. I
Yeah,
mean,
we've done
over
the whole
we can't really talk
plot.
about overall. I mean, the plot's different for episode by episode, isn't it? So
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to judge in it.
yeah.
I think the best
I
way
mean,
to do
as
it
of now,
is.
yeah.
Oh, go on, no, carry on.
No,
What were you gonna say?
basically, as of now, because you Friends has the better like the theme song because of that
Yeah,
whole point, and because of everything else being tied, you technically win. But
yeah.
yeah, because they're such great shows, they're all
It's
like they both win on each accord except from the theme song.
yeah. So it's quite hard to judge. I think the best way
Yeah,
to do it is people watch it on YouTube.
yeah.
Say in the comments which one do you think's better,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
why. We'd love to see what you've written. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Also, if you're watching, write down what you want to see next. We'll record it. We'll love to hear your ideas. Anyway, thank you for listening. Hopefully, we will see you again soon. Bye.